The late, great Gary Moore is widely regarded as one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Can I take on one of his most legendary solos in less than a day? No. That. Kiss my ass. Kiss his ass. Happy Hanukkah. Maybe, maybe not. Today I'm going to try to learn the solo from Out in the Fields in less than a day. Wish me luck. Hey there kids, it's your good buddy, Uncle Ben. So I gotta admit, I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to Gary Moore. For many years, I taught guitar lessons at a shop in Morristown, Tennessee called the Guitar Vault. And over the years, I got to know one of the other teachers there, Philip Sandifer. And Phil and I have become great friends since then and have played in bands together and stuff. But he was the guy that turned me on to his playing because Phil's vibrato is unbelievable. It's some of my favorite vibrato I've ever heard from any player ever. And I remember talking to him one day and I was like, man, where did you get that sound from? Because he got that like super wide, like turkey call vibrato, you know? And he's like, man, that's just Gary Moore stuff. I've always tried to emulate his playing. And he gave me a huge list of videos and songs that I should explore and get in Gary's playing. And I was blown away. And here for a long time on my channel, I've been getting requests from you guys and my amazing Patreon community to bust into some Gary Moore stuff. So here we are today. I'm gonna try to learn that solo from Out in the Fields in less than a day. As always, today's video is brought to you guys by everybody who supports my channel over on my Patreon page at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. People are saying it's the best place on the entire internet, and I'm gonna try to make sure that it stays that way. This week, everybody who supports my channel, even for just $1 a month, is gonna get access to the tabs I made to go along with this solo, as well as a guitar profile that I'm gonna make to go along with that really nasty run. I have a feeling I'm gonna need that if I'm gonna get it up to speed in time, and you can use that to help practice it as well. You're also going to get access to a very special, super extended, and ad-free cut of this video with even more practice time, frustrations, technical tips, and more. So don't delay, sign up today. Gear-wise, to play this tune, I need a high-speed wand with good fret access and a kickstand back here at the bridge, so I've chosen my Jackson SL3 American Series Soloist, which is amazing. And to try to come close to Gary's sizzling hot tone, I'm gonna be using my Synergy rig today. I'll be plugging into the Soldano SLO module, and I've got that running through the UA aux as usual. Yeah, let's start cracking down those legendary licks. So step number one, as always, is a shit ton of listening and research. I watched the music video for the tune here a bunch of times on YouTube. It's got some great close-ups of him playing the solo so we can see some of his positions and everything he's using. And the first observation that I made is that it is a real shame that we haven't had a movie yet in which John C. Reilly plays Gary Moore. I mean, for real, dude, put Dewey Cox in a Sgt. Pepper's jacket and you're more than halfway there. Lead up to the solo is simple enough. You got a 7th fret G string harmonic that you give some bar dips to, and then do it again and do double time dips before you slide down and start the solo proper. Gary's got a really great subtle bar vibrato sound. Whenever you're doing that, be sure to pull the bar flat and sharp. So every time I'm going down with the bar and coming up with the bar, but not too much. It's not, you know, that C-sit kind of sound. Just really gently rock the hand back and forth and be sure to not go too fast. It's the same advice I gave my wife on our honeymoon. Cool detail right there too. He does that Van Halen-y bar dip to get to that E note. Whenever you do that, you're kind of sliding the note down and depressing the bar at the same time and releasing the bar when you land on your target note. So all together, section 1 is going to sound something like this. Section number 2 is this quick walk up the neck through the scale. Let's check this one out. One detail you got to notice here is the way that he uses downstrokes to play that walk up. Using those downstrokes like that just sounds super even and consistent, way better than using alternate picking for that. It's like really aggressive and percussive sounding. If you want to check out a modern guy that does that all the time, be sure to look up Eric Steckel. Eric Steckel uses more like 16th note downstrokes and his soloing than like James Hetfield does in his riffing. It's pretty insane stuff. You'll notice as I play up that I'm also still carrying the bar here in my second, third, and fourth fingers. That's so I can do those little expressive dips of the bar as he's going up the B string like that. And now we get to the insane part. 16th notes at like 180 BPM. And at first it's kind of a vertical sort of pattern where we're going through the strings, then it terminates in a high E string ascending pattern. It's terrifying. So I put the audio here into Logic and I slowed it down. So up to that point, this is a tried and true alternate picking pattern that we've heard other players use. And then it starts to deviate away from that, which is where it gets confusing. So the pattern is like this. Start off on a note in the scale, go back 2 notes and walk up to the note you started on. That gives you a 4-note sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go to the next note in the scale. Then you're gonna go back 2 notes and walk up. Up a note in the scale, back 2 notes, and so on. So it's kind of this game of hopscotch through the scale. You can most commonly hear this lick played in a 1-string fashion, linear across the neck by guys like Yngwie Malmsteen. He ends up terminating in this later on in the solo, but it's this lick that I know you've heard before. That's a classic YOLO mouse meat lick right there. Now I've seen a lot of different transcriptions of this, and I watched a bunch of different lessons here on YouTube, and it seems like a lot of people have him going to the linear 1-string Yngwie pattern a lot sooner than what he's actually doing. So I've seen some transcriptions that have you starting off in the vertical sort of pattern lick, and then kind of from there walking up the D string like this. But I don't think that's what's going on. If you watch the music video, you can tell he gets to the high E string as fast as he can and then starts moving the lick up right there. He does some really smart moves once he gets onto the G and B string. And I'm saying that they're smart moves because they help him avoid rolling his first finger across those 2 strings. That's something a lot of guitar players despise, myself included. So you'll notice he plays kind of the stock pattern until he gets to those strings. It's got 2 pickup notes at the first too, by the way, and a 1. Did you see that move right there? That wasn't play the note, go back 2 notes in the scale, and walk up again. That wasn't that move. That would involve doing a roll, which he doesn't want to do at those high speeds. So whenever he reaches the B string right here, he only goes back 1 note in the scale rather than 2. And he does it right there. So you can see once he reaches the A note on the high E string, he doesn't go A to F as it would be if he was going back 2, the way the pattern began. He goes from A to G. So at this point, I'm starting to look at this as being 2 different sequences. You have the first one that's the unbroken ascending 4s kind of idea. Then we start changing it. And then once he reaches the high E right here is where we go into the Yngwie pattern. And walks up the neck like that. Check this out. There's a few more clever skips that he does along the way, so that way he can reach the target note in time. This took me forever to figure out. If you phrase it that way, you land on that high D note in time. It's pretty strange. So as you start walking up the high E string, there's a few checkpoints in here where we're gonna make a big position shift happen. Check this out. So I skipped a few things already. So check this out. Once you reach this high D note, the first finger isn't going to go back to B flat as it would if the sequence was unbroken. It's going to skip back here to C. Then once you reach this high G note, you're going to skip going back to E. Don't go to that one. You're going to go to the F note instead. Wild. So now the way that I'm seeing this is sort of like 3 different licks that are all being combined into one. You have the unbroken phrase. We have the broken phrase. Then the Yngwie phrase. And that is how he's actually playing that lick. Not that transcribing it means that I can play it yet. That is harder than Satan's dick to play. It's all alternate picked, and it features some of my least favorite moves. It's got inside and outside string changes in it. It is a hassle. The inside down to up move. There's a bunch of them in there. But there's some outside picking changes too, which I'm pretty good at. Now there are a few different strategies I could use to address those inside string changes. I know somebody out there is already thinking, what if instead of starting the lick with a downstroke, I started it with an upstroke instead? That would invert all the picking changes and make some of those changes outsides instead. Right out of the gate, if I start that with an upstroke, it does help me avoid that first inside picking change. But then I'll run into another one like right away. You're going to end up doing an up to down, which is an inside change again. This is a pain. There's really no good way around this if you're truly alternate picking your way through the entire thing. But I'm trying to do this justice and do it like Gary, so I've just got to buckle up and hang on for dear life as I navigate the string changes. Now to help me practice this and get it up to tempo, I made a guitar profile of just that lick. And the cool thing about this is, I can put this on loop and just practice that lick over and over and over as many times as I want to. And because this is Guitar Pro, that means I can go in here and tell it exactly what tempo I want to practice it at. So maybe I want to practice this at like 70 BPM to make it a little bit more easier. Now I can practice it that way. That's so challenging to play, man, on those low strings. It's that combination of inside and outside picking that makes it such a pain in the ass for me to play. You can see how I'm stopping right on the problem area. By really focusing on the tricky part and making that the finish line, I can devote all of my attention to it and make sure I'm making the motions that I need to execute that move. I noticed this little flick of the wrist. See that little forearm turn I'm doing right there? That kind of helps me get away from the D string on the downstroke and into the A string on the upstroke. Really handy thing. Guitar Pro, not a sponsor, but you could be if you wanted to. Holla at your boy. That Yngwie pattern sucks, dude. Again, that's a moment where you could really practice just the position change. After that insane run, he caps off the solo with this A major arpeggio bass lick that he plays over the A power chord. Sounds like this. Pretty simple stuff. Solving on D there as the chord goes back to D. Now one thing that you'll notice is that whenever he lands on that high D note at the end of the insane run, it sounds like they turned on some kind of a delay that's really loud. It's like maybe a dotted eighth or something, I think, rhythmically. So whenever he's playing this section, the repeats are really strong. Whenever I record my cover at the end of the day, I might do that in post in Logic. I'll go in and put that dotted delay really loud just on those notes, and you'll be able to hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is my homework for the day. We got the first part here with the harmonics. The downstroke heavy run. Absolute hell on earth. Oh, I forgot to mention that earlier. He just walks down the scale right there. This is gonna take a while. Cool. God, that is so hard to do. This is gonna take forever. I'm becoming aware of something. Now that I've reached about 140 BPM, I'm noticing my picking is starting to try to auto-correct itself. There's some change in here. I think it's somewhere around the G and B strings where I am sneaking in a hammer-on. That way I can do outside changes and not deal with those dreadful inside changes. I'm not making a decision to start doing this hammer-on. I think it's right there. Because now I'm noticing what should be inside changes, I'm now playing as outside changes. Another dead giveaway to me that I'm sneaking something in here to flight correct my picking is that I'm ending that run on a downstroke. It should rhythmically be an upstroke. It's the last of four E and So if I landed there on an upstroke, that would mean I was maintaining alternate picking the entire time. But I'm noticing as I'm playing along with this, when I reach that note before the bend, it's a downstroke instead. That means my picking has corrected itself. So I'm gonna try to work on truly alternate picking this and see if I can fix that little auto correction my brain is doing. Nope, let's try it again. Nope, dang. I did the picking right that time. Right picking. Okay, so at this point at 140 BPM, I'm starting to get that feeling like I'm getting the most out of what I can do right now. My brain probably needs to process and digest a lot of this information that I've been feeding it. I think this seems like a perfect time to take the dogs on a walk around the block, enjoy some beautiful Tennessee springtime weather, get a little bit of sun, and take another stab at it once I've processed some of this material. Okay guys, I took a little break. I made a backing track of the solo and I practiced the crap out of that run a little bit more. I've got my Troy Grady Cracking the Code magnet camera mount here on the end of the neck so we can get that classic down the fretboard shot like the original video had. Let's give this a swing and see how it turns out. So there you go guys, that's my attempt at learning that legendary solo in less than a day. It's not perfect. I think in the run, like there's some stuff that's a little bit mushy, could use a little bit more articulation. And I still think I'm flipping my picking around in there somewhere. I think on that like G to B transition, I'm adding in a hammer-on or something to make myself play those changes outside instead of inside still. So I got to be aware of that stuff and try to work on that. That inside picking stuff has always been my weak point, and here's the proof, right? But I'm not too mad about it. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know what other song or solo you guys would like to see me attempt to learn and master in less than a day down there in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to get even more out of this video by checking out my Patreon page. That's where you're going to get the super extended ad-free cut of this video with even more information in it, as well as my tab for the solo, the guitar profile for the impossible run, and all kinds of other goodies. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold. I'm really enjoying these challenge videos. Hope you guys are digging them too. Now get away from the computer and go play some guitar. Less clicking, more picking.